Sub YouTube? What's going on, everybody? This Anthonyfallin, Tone Setter Financial. Hey, I'm coming back to y'all again with part two of Let the Expert Tell It. And this is the 2020 Gold Spike Summit interview, a rare interview featuring investing legend Doug Casey. And we're going to sit back and listen to this 45-minute clip or interview by I think his name is Chris Hurt. Um, they're gonna talk about gold, and I can't say it enough as if those that has viewed my interviews. I mean, watching my video posts as I've added on more and more new subscribers. Um, that's listening in. It's been a good thing. But as I have always been saying ever since I started uh, these these YouTube my YouTube channel in the financial realm is I'm about Karatbars International, and I'm affiliate of Karatbars International. And since I'm not a licensed financial advisor, nor CPA, nor lawyer, hey, sometimes it's best not to hear my voice, because it can, is some of y'all are looking at me like, who am I? So I'll let someone that's um, well established, been well established for years, and has made a lot of people wealthy and rich. So this is just another angle that I take on my channel to just not let everything come from me. Let it come from someone else so people can make their own mind up. And that what Karatbars International is doing, it's been established since 2011 by Dr. Harold Seiss. And right now you have an opportunity with this company to open up your free gold savings account and exchange your paper money for gold, which is real money. So along with that, you have an opportunity to get a lot of cryptocurrency, which is the KCB, by December the 15th for free, along with along with the gold that you exchange for. And we have packages called the profit package, where you get at the very minimum for 155 euro, which is about $180 USD, you can get 1,608 coins along with um, 2/10 of a gram of cash gold um, to go in your package. So again, like I said, it's a free gold savings account, and you can come in as an affiliate, and you can start exchanging your paper money for real currency grade gold. And as an incentive, if you want to get a profit package, you'll get free cryptocurrency on top of that. Now, that's just the lowest package. We have four packages. We have the bronze package, silver package, gold package, and the VIP package. And those range from 155 euro to 3,000 euro. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. If any of my other affiliates, partners that are listening in. But like I said, this is a 45-minute interview, and I just want to share it with you guys because you're not going to find this clip on YouTube besides here on my channel. I'm telling you now, because I am a member of a publishing company that gives me insider information and rare interviews from guys like Doug Casey and such. So gold has been the theme as of late, and it actually it's been they've been saying it for years, but it's the voices have gotten louder about you ought to take some of your paper money and exchange it for gold. Now, Doug Casey, he has his own wrinkle on how to go about things. So it's not aligned with Karatbars International. Well, at the same time, he's dropping a lot of jewels on you to let you know that this is something that you ought to be doing. And I'm not talking about him per se as being a wealthy man. He's talking about the everyday people like you and I that are getting up out of our bed, going to do our 9 to 5, and don't have any savings in gold whatsoever. And all I'm doing is tying in Carrot Bars International to say to you guys, hey, you can come here, you can exchange your paper currency for currency grade gold. You can either have it delivered to you physically, or you can store it for free. Okay? So I'm not going to hold back any longer because this video is 45 minutes, is quite lengthy. And y'all stay tuned in. And take a matter of fact, I would advise you to get a notepad and listen in. Okay. Let me make sure I got everything I need. Hold on a second. I'm going to set this phone down. Then I'll be coming right back to you guys. Just hold on. Just hold tight. Oh, matter of fact, I just do it from here. And turn up the volume. Okay. Excuse my. I'm just trying to get this to y'all.
Fight Summit. My name is Chris Hurd. Glad to have you here with us. And over the past several years, I should tell you, I've had the pleasure to sit down and interview some of the most dynamic and sought-after minds in the financial world. And my guest today certainly meets that very same criteria. I have traveled 2,000 miles from South Florida to here, Aspen, Colorado, to meet Doug Casey, a multimillionaire and frankly a legend of the resource market, to talk about one of the hottest investments in the world right now, gold. Does that surprise you? Well, maybe it shouldn't. Take a look. Over the past 20 years, gold has outperformed stocks by a factor of nearly 5 to 1. This year alone, dozens of mining stocks have soared anywhere from 633% to 2,187%, even an explosive 9,900%. And for the first time in a very long time, gold is making international headlines, thanks in part to a shocking new gold rule, the very first of its kind in more than 45 years. And that has set off a literal buying frenzy and a bank panic, unlike anything we've seen since really the early 1970s. In fact, the last time we saw anything like this, gold took off, soaring from $35 an ounce to $120, then $594, all the way to $850 an ounce. Today, it seems to be happening once again. Billions of dollars are flooding out of cryptocurrencies and other speculative investments and pouring into one corner of the gold market. And for the first time in memory, wealthy investors from Paul Tudor Jones to Sam Zell, John Paulson, they are selling their stocks and bonds and real estate to pour money into gold. 77-year-old billionaire Sam Zell recently said, "For the first time in my life, I bought gold." Another billionaire, Ray Dalio, who runs the famous hedge fund Bridgewater, agrees with him, and his prediction actually made headlines on CNBC. But my guest today says that if you follow these billionaires and simply buy the raw physical metal, you could be leaving a lot of money on the table, because there's a very different investment that could create more millionaires than any gold boom we have ever seen. What's happening today is practically unprecedented. In the past 6 months alone, the People's Bank of China increased its bullion reserves to a total of 62.45 million troy ounces. The Central Bank of Russia dumped 50% of its dollar reserves and purchased 8.8 million troy ounces of gold bullion. Poland bought 3.2 million troy ounces in the second quarter alone. That is the most by any central bank since 2009. Overall, central banks have purchased 20.9 million troy ounces of gold over the last year. Now, to put that into perspective, Bloomberg reports they're accumulating gold at the fastest pace we've seen in half a century. We have not seen anything like this since 1971. That was the year that President Richard Nixon took America off the gold standard. And that brought about a rare opportunity for investors to ring up a fortune. Well, now, for the first time in decades, it's happening again, which is why we have raced here to Aspen to meet with one of the most successful gold speculators in all of history. But the question remains, why gold? And why now? Well, what my guest has to say may shock you, but the good news is it could also make you rich. Not by following the crowd into ETFs, gold coins, or bullion bars, but by focusing on one small niche of the gold market, which historically soars the most during epic bull runs like this one, which is just getting started. You are about to meet a legendary speculator who's made a career out of predicting and profiting from the biggest trends of the past 3 decades. His name is Doug Casey, and over the years, he has recommended more than 1,000 private and public companies, giving followers the chance to make several fortunes along the way. For example, he found a way to see 50 times his money with a single speculation on a gold exploration company, for one. And our team has independently verified this. He once put $1,875 into a small resource company and sold his stake 2.5 years later for $1.2 million. He's also been a trusted counselor to governments and heads of state around the world. He's met everyone from Bill Clinton to Dick Cheney, Fidel Castro, and as if that wasn't enough, he also authored and co-authored more than 6 books, and that includes the #1 New York Times bestseller, Crisis Investing, inside of which he predicted a coming crisis and actually made investment recommendations that were, if you'll pardon the expression, right on the money, including buy gold and silver. Within months, the price of gold rose from $270 to $850 an ounce. The price of silver skyrocketed from $650 to nearly $50 at its high. And this predictive success has actually earned him appearances on hundreds of radio and TV shows, from David Letterman to Larry King, Merv Griffin, Charlie Rose. Doug has lived in 10 countries, visited about 160 altogether. Today, he splits his time between his estate here in Aspen, Colorado, his Argentine wine and golf resort, and his ranch in Uruguay. Doug, thank you very much for taking time to meet with me today.
Well, it's my pleasure, Chris. Good to be with you.
Let's get right into this, if you don't mind. For years, you have been warning about a huge shift from paper money into gold. And I should say that you are not alone. There are many experts and insiders. I think of former Congressman Ron Paul, billionaire investor Stanley Druckenmiller, Nobel Prize-winning economist Myron Scholes. All of them have echoed what you've said. And in a recent interview on Bloomberg TV, billionaire hedge fund owner Mark Mobius even declared that gold is going up, up, up. So to use that word, what exactly is up? What's going on right now?
Well, you're right. I've been anticipating this for quite a while.
Yeah, and forgive me, the more I think about it, calling your words a warning, as I did just a moment ago, might be actually putting it lightly. I mean, in 2002, you yourself said, the way I see it now, I think I'm getting this quote right, gold is not only going through the roof, it's going to the moon. Back in 2011, I know you were quoted in Business Insider. You said the dollar is nothing more than a floating abstraction, an IOU nothing on the part of a manifestly bankrupt government. And even more recently than that, in November of 2016, you wrote, when people wake up and realize that most banks and governments are, I think, bankrupt, they're going to flock to gold. So all of these warnings led the Washington Post to call you a doomsayer. I know you're probably accustomed to hearing that word, but what is it today that you're concerned about? Because in my own experience, I know that normally for gold to soar, I'm a bit of an amateur historian here, but for gold to soar, there have to be some bad things going on in the economy. And yet, stocks are near all-time highs. Unemployment is at record lows right now. Business seems to be booming. What is it that you're seeing that the rest of us are missing?
It's the top of a boom just before the bust, Chris. It's all a mirage. It's a fiction. The so-called prosperity that we've seen over the past decade actually has been a gigantic illusion. The economy nearly went over the edge in 2008. Governments and their central banks kept it together by printing up scores of trillions of currency units. Most of that money flowed into stocks and bonds. Sure, that kept the banks and the brokers and the insurers from going under. And it made the rich much, much richer. All that new money has encouraged the government, businesses, and the average American to go even further into debt, to live above their means, in other words. Everything might seem fine, but we're headed for a major crack-up. Smart players are trading their fiat currencies and buying gold. Why? Because it's the only financial asset that's not simultaneously somebody else's liability.
What signs are you seeing?
Well, did you notice Germany demanded 9.6 million ounces of gold back from the Federal Reserve in New York and 12 million more ounces that they had in Paris? Central Bank of Austria has repatriated 4.5 million ounces from London. Hungary and Romania have withdrawn their gold from storage in England. We've seen Venezuela ask for its gold back too, 450,000 ounces. And the Bank of England actually refused to comply. This is unprecedented in modern history. It shows a profound lack of trust. I don't want to go into a long economic discussion here. You can read any of my books or articles and past videos for the details. But the important thing to know is that gold is about to play a much more important role in the years to come. And despite the fact governments and central bankers dislike gold because it acts as a discipline on them, they're starting to buy it. Interestingly, due to a major change in the accounting rules at the Bank for International Settlements, which is kind of a central banker's bank, gold just took a huge step towards becoming a day-to-day money again for the first time in decades.
That seems important, but it seems like there's this, is it fair to say there's a huge gold grab going on out there right now?
Well, I don't know exactly what a gold grab is, but I'm confident that we're now in the early stages of a huge gold bull market.
And I know that you also say this is a trend that's only just beginning. Why is that?
There are many reasons. One of them is the rule change the BIS recently made to its accounting principles for gold that I just mentioned.
Right? How could a single rule have such a profound effect on everything, though? Not just on the price of gold itself, but on the whole financial system.
I've been warning of a crisis like this for many years, but now it's finally happening. We're seeing signs that the world is being forced to move away from on-back paper currencies that can be created out of nothing by bankrupt governments. It's returning to a gold-backed financial system.
Right, back to the old gold standard of the past. Is that fair to say?
Let me try to clarify this a bit. I'm not saying that you're going to hear gold coins clattering around in cash registers anytime soon, although you'd be smart to start buying some. Nor am I saying that you'll collect your next paycheck in gold instead of dollars, although you would be smart to use some of it to buy gold. The change I'm talking about is taking place way up the financial food chain, about as far from Main Street America as you can get. Unfortunately, the little guy, Main Street, is always the last to get the news.
Well, that does explain why there seem to be so few people talking about this. It's a bit hard to understand. It goes over my head a lot as well. So can you put this onto a sixth grade reading level for us and break it down a little bit?
Sure. Well, let's start with the basic connection between gold and money.